Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing fine. Thank you so much, everyone who's joined me on this Wednesday. Wednesday's a great day. It's a great day. We won the Champions League on a Wednesday. Let's not forget that, guys. It was a 98-99 I'm talking about. 98-99, 2008, we won the Champions League on a Wednesday. Now, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. Before you do anything, please, could you do that for me? We need to get to at least 50 to 100 likes before the end of the show. That's what every Breaking Dawn show should be. For now, we will go up. It will go up. Of course it will be. But, guys, thank you, everyone. You're absolute legends. Let's get straight into it in regards to the news, of course, around Man United. That's why we're all here, isn't it, guys? And Manchester United are being linked with some new names. Some new names. Well, not for me, because I did mention one of these players a few months ago, of course. Now, let's get into the first name that we're talking about. His name is Del. He's Del. His name's Del, not Del Boy. It's not Del Boy, but he will be Del Boy if he comes to Man United. It's not Del Computer. It's Del. He's a 17-year-old Brazilian under-20s international, currently playing for Bahia in Brazil. Now, guys, this guy has been quoted as being the Brazilian HAALAND. High praise indeed. High praise indeed. So high that they put an 87 million price tag on his head. Pounds, that is. English sterling on his head. Unbelievable. Who isn't worth 100 million these days, guys? That's the one thing I want to ask you guys. Who isn't worth 100 million these days? It's like everyone's worth 100 million. I think I'm worth 100 million. I ain't even bloody played football. For goodness sake, everyone's got 100 million, 87 million price tag. I think Liverpool have saturated. They've elevated the market, haven't they? It's Liverpool's fault. They've elevated the market. It's their fault, not ours. Their fault. They want to spend 150 million on players, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. And they've elevated this whole transfer thing, isn't it? But Del, not Del Boy, Del, 17-year-old buyer player, 87 million release clause, absolutely killing it at the moment in Brazil. Deemed the next one through, one of the new generational Brazilian players. Of course, Brazil in general, guys, let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic. In general, Brazil, they've gone a little bit quiet in regards to the players that they used to produce, because when I was being raised, Brazil had, I mean, I'm talking about elite players, guys. You could, I mean, off the cuff, Roberto Carlos, Rivaldo, Ronaldo, Denilson, Dunga, Juninho. They had so many great players. And over the last recent years, I would say that it has sort of died down a little bit. We got Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo and Endrick and players like that, but they're not quite at that level that they used to be. You know, even if I talk about Casemiro, there's no Casemiros coming through anymore as well. So the pool of talent in Brazil has really dried up. So what I would say to Manchester United, we got to be very careful, obviously, if we're going after looking at players like Del, whose valuation, and it is a release clause, 87 million pounds, guys. 87 million pound release clause. Crying out loud. Goodness me. Yeah, 87 million release clause. We've got to be very careful what we do in regards to who we're scouting and how overly hyped they could be. They are very young. Guys, they're very young, and we can't be splashing out enormous amounts of money on players such as Del, but a very talented player. But I need to see this guy, you know, in a major league, in a Premier League, in a La Liga, in a French league, before Man United splash out ridiculous amounts of money on him. Of course, Ineos, Vivel, Barada are looking at players all around Europe, the world, including South America. South America, they're very rife on their scouting. Of course, the Colombian guy we just purchased is doing very well. He'll be coming in July. So, guys, I don't mind it as long as it's value for money, as long as it's a player that's going to come into our football team now and make a huge amount of difference. That's what I would say about that, and hopefully it will, guys. Now, moving on, in regards to the transfers, Yan Diomande. Now, people who've been tuning into Stretford Post for a while may know Yan Diomande. Yan Diomande is a winger, plays on the left, plays on the right, and he is an incredibly talented individual currently playing for Leipzig. Okay, so he is worth around 100 million euros, guys. This is what the price of. This is what I was saying. Is everyone worth 100 million euros these days? This is what I'm talking about. But he's an 18-year-old player, Ivorian international, playing for Leipzig, who Manchester United have been linked with before. But as we know, this €100 million price tag, we know everyone's putting €100 million price tag on their players. As we know with Carlos Baleba, of course, and it's going to be Elliot Anderson as well, that they're going to place that sort of valuation on the player. I mean, look, you know, this is what happens when players sign for football clubs overly priced, for example, Florian Wirtz and Isaac and players like that. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. But Yan Diomande, 18 years old, Ivorian winger, currently playing for Leipzig, linked to Manchester United this morning. I like the player, fantastic player. But again, we got to look at more closer to home in regards to the price, because this is very, very expensive for players who are relatively unproven. And as we know with the Bundesliga, you've got to be very careful with the Bundesliga. You have to be very careful with the Bundesliga, because you can get a gem coming out of the Bundesliga. And then at the same time, you can get a player that, you know what, is a complete dud at the same time, as Liverpool have done. Of course, guys, absolutely. Let me just say hello to the community. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome, everyone. Big up, Big up, my friend, Hat Boy Oliver. What's going on? Hot Boy Oliver. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. So where does that lead for Chido Obi Martin? Now, these are the questions we need to ask the board. And Ruben, so yeah, at the end of the day, we need to know what's going on with Chido Obi Martin. Haven't seen much of him recently. Of course, he's still only 17 years old. But having signed for Arsenal, the Arsenal youth team, he had 37 goals in like a ridiculous amount of games. 37 goals in 50 games, I think it was something like that in regards to Obi Martin when he signed for Manchester United. A very, very highly rated Danish player, of course. I would like to know what's going on with these players. But at the same time, obviously, it's what Ruben Amorim is doing right now. Because obviously, any player can't sign now. No one can sign now. We're talking about in January. We're talking about in the summer. So no players can sign for Manchester United right now. They can't. So what we're looking at is that what Ruben Amorim is doing right now, he's just based on getting results. It's just about results for him at the moment. So obviously we're talking about the likes of Dell, the likes of Diomande, these kind of players that are for the future. Yes. But, you know, that's not to say that we're not signing more than, we're not going to play more than one. We're not going to have a squad full of them, you know, at the end of the day, because Chido Obi Martin will get his opportunity. I think he will. I would like to see him on the bench a little bit more. He's obviously very quality. He's obviously high quality. I watched him against Hong Kong. Remember, and he done that little turn and bent it in a corner. Absolutely brilliant. He's got the talent. In regards to players coming through, they're going to have to bide their time. Ruben Amorim has proven record of bringing through youngsters, as you know, at Sporting Lisbon. It does happen. But what Man United need to do, and I think there was a point made yesterday about it, Man United are trying to create an environment that is positive, an environment that is easier for younger players to bed themselves into the squad. Do you know what I mean? When you scroll back to the class of 92 and you think about the players that came through that time, obviously they had Roy Keane, Peter Schmeichel, Andy Cole, Eric Cantona, Dennis Irwin, of course. So it was a little bit different. So what those class of 92 had, which the younger players won't have these days, is a winning mentality within the camp, within the atmosphere, within the football team. And at the moment, I don't think we have that. I think what Ruben Amorim is trying to do is trying to build a winning culture. Once we start winning, then you can slowly integrate players into the team, because you bring young players into the team when it's a toxic environment, it's just going to destroy them long term. It will. And this is the thing. Now, look, Chido Obi Martin will get his opportunity. 17 years old. JJ Gabriel will get his opportunity. Fletcher brothers will get their opportunity. Shea Lacey will get his opportunity. Musa will get his opportunity. Kolungi will get his opportunity. Of course, they were all going to get their opportunity. Mantata is going to get his opportunity. And we just have to buy time and trust the process, of course, and trust Ruben Amorim. Big up, Hot Boy Oliver. Big up, Oliver. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good morning, Sal. What is your thought of the Ronaldo comments? Going to get into that very soon. Big up, Ephraim. Sal, Victor Roma in the thumbnail. That's not Victor Roque, mate. No. Good morning, Yale. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. And the legend, Baba Flossie. What's going on, Baba Flossie? I hope you're doing well. I see you everywhere. What's going on, Baba Flossie? I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. Big up, Stretford Post. Hoping for a trio of you. Terrier Mark. Soon come. You never know. You never know. It could happen, guys. Absolutely. I've known Mark for like 7 years now. Me and him, like, we talk quite often. We nearly work together, to be honest with you, on something, a different project. But yeah, look, I've got a lot of love for Mark and Terry, absolutely all day long. Admire their work ethic and their consistency. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Inspiring, it is. Definitely. So what I would say is that, yeah, look, you know what? That would be lovely. I would love to work with those guys. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I've already achieved my dream. I've worked with Hussam and Mo. I'm joking. I love them. I love them. Absolutely. So, but yeah, look, you never know what can happen in this space. Absolutely. Yeah. And you never know what the future holds. Big up, Sanjay. Hope you're doing well. Big up, always punctual. Thank you so much, Bubba. I've always been like that my whole life. I've always been punctual. You know what I mean? Whether I was working in a supermarket, whether I was working in a hospital, like I did for 5 years, always on time. Half an hour early, sometimes, you know what I mean? It's not good to come half an hour early on a stream because obviously everyone will miss you. But when I was working in my job in an hospital, yeah, I was always half an hour early. Thank you, Bubba Flossie, for noticing. It is well and truly noted, of course. Big up, man. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Brazilian players' talent has absolutely dried up. It has dried up for ages. I don't know why that is. I have no idea, no clue. Maybe it's just a generation, mate. I don't know. I mean, when I was growing up, football is life, as we say, as a Ted Lasso, isn't it? Look, you know, what I would say is that football used to be it used to be like a religion. I don't know if it still is in Brazil, but it was like a religion, and it was like the world would end, and if they would lose, the world would end, etc. I just don't think that people in general, young people growing up, are as tuned into football as they used to be. I take it from my nephews in Italy. My nephews, they just go on the internet all day long playing FIFA. They put their bag down straight after school. They're on FIFA or they're on their phones. With me, when I used to come home from school, it was bag down, football up, going out to play football. You know, times have changed, isn't it? And it has had an effect on the talent, pool of talent that is coming through, of course. Good. Thank you so much, Kenny. Hope you're doing well. Big up, Kula. What's going on, my friend? I'll be doing well. Kula Shaker, what's going on? I have no more belief in the Brazilian next best thing. Too many of them have been failing massively. The price tags of this South African kid has got out of hands. It is really strange, though, I would say, Kula, but why some of these players are worth ridiculous amounts of money. 87 million release clause for what? That's what I like. For what? What have you achieved, bruv? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what have you achieved? Why is he 87 million? You know, I mean, all right, if he played in Spain and he's scoring goals in Spain or Italy or England, then you would say, well, yeah, you know what? He's played there. He's doing his business at 17 years old. So if he's worth 87 million, I would like to know how much the likes of Adam Wharton or Elliot Anderson are worth, who are actually proven. Do you know what I mean? Ridiculous. Absolutely. Big up, Kula. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Ellen. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see Ellen back in the house, of course, guys. Absolutely. Big up yourself. Daryl, what's going on, my bro? How you doing, my friend? Morning, Sal. We could end up with losing a lot of youngsters due to none of them coming up to the first team. I hope, but not. But let's see. We have to, as I said at the beginning of the show, we have to bide our time. We have to be patient, you know, and obviously we're trying to create an environment which is a winning environment. That's what Ruben Amorim is trying to do. I think it is getting better. I think it is, but it's going to take time. And that moves me swiftly on to the Cristiano Ronaldo comments. Now, obviously, I don't like the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo is talking to Piers Morgan. I don't like Piers Morgan. I think that what Piers Morgan does, he revels in it because he doesn't like Man United. So he loves hearing it. He's like, oh, yes, I can't wait to hear bad news about Man United. Let me stir the pot. Let me stir the pot. I can't wait to hear bad news about Man United. I know. However, what Cristiano Ronaldo said is straight facts. And I think that the only thing that Cristiano Ronaldo didn't say was Glazers out. That's the only thing he didn't say, which he could say and he should say, because he's basically drawing us a picture here. You know what I mean? He's pulling it in front of our face. You know what I mean? Look, I think things are getting a little bit better with Ruben Amorim and stuff like that, but you still have that inkling in your head that we still got the Glazers in charge. And this is a fact, you know? I don't like the fact that Piers Morgan is saying that, stirring the pot, saying all these things about Man United, because he's an Arsenal fan and a very obnoxious Arsenal fan. Only a few months ago, guys, a year ago or something like that, he was saying, Arteta out. It was him. It was him who was saying that. So he has no place to be talking about Manchester United. No place. Cristiano Ronaldo could talk all day long to the cows come home about Man United. We know that. You know what I mean? I agree with a lot of what Cristiano Ronaldo said. I agree. You know, but he needs to say it. If you're going to say it, Cristiano, say it. Say the Glazers are the problem. Don't be scared of the Glazers. Don't be fearful of the Glazers. You have no affiliation to them. Go out there and say the Glazers are the problem at Man United. Since the Glazers have been at Man United, there's been an issue. And it is true, isn't it? At the end of the day, the Glazers are the issue. They are the problem. And look, I love the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo came out and spoke the truth. Not just like, for example, oh, yeah, I watch every game. I'm wishing them the best. And you know what? I like the way that Ruben Amorim is doing things. I like the way the Man United team is lined up. And it's no sugarcoating, and which I liked about that. I like the fact that he didn't sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? He's not a Portuguese Willy Wonka. You know what I mean? Putting sugar over everything. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So, look, like the interview, don't like Piers Morgan. It's like a double-edged sword for me. It's not a double-edged sword, one edge. So it's a bit like a thorn in my side, basically. So I would say that I like Ronaldo. I like the way he speaks. I would love him back at the football club. I think he'd be absolutely fantastic at the football club in a sort of ownership level. If he can invest in Man United, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Having Cristiano Ronaldo. Imagine having Cristiano Ronaldo and having David Beckham at the football club. Wouldn't that be great, isn't it? Oh, man, you're a legend, bro. Thank you so much. So are you. Thank you so much for saying your nice comments, mate. I don't get many these days. Do you know what I mean? But thank you so much. Our bench are full of players that is better than Obi for the moment. If Xerxes leaves in January, we'll most likely see Obi Martin on the bench again. That is the guy Obi is competing with. Look, at the end of the day, look, you know, what I would say is that everyone will get the opportunity. Don't worry about that. Ruben Amorim is not that guy to totally neglect you. You know what I mean? And I think we just have to be a little bit biding our time a little bit. When I've seen Obi Martin, and let me be honest, when I've seen Obi Martin, I see raw talent. A little bit Bambi on ice, if you know what I mean. He's a little bit like Bambi on ice, but there is a raw talent there, and it needs to be nurtured, right? Hopefully, as you said there, my guy, Jale, sorry. Hopefully, we will get him in the team, in the squad. Once the AFCON comes, we're going to get an opportunity to play more players. Mainoo will get his opportunity, of course. Maybe Xerxes will, but it depends on what Man United want to do with these players, whether they want to sell these players and move them on, of course, or loan them out, of course, guys. Now, Man United are looking at the likes of Angelo Stiller. They're looking at other players as well who are pretty young as well. They're looking at other players to bring in as well to fix the squad now. Man United need fixing first. Man United are not where they need to be right now. Now, if you bring in a young player into this type of environment where, you know what, it's not going well as we want, and we are still very fragile as a football team. You saw that against Nottingham Forest. We're very fragile in a football team. And the last thing you want to do is bring in players and sort of disrupt their mentality sort of thing. You know, because a player could come in all confident, I'm this, I'm that, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, and then play for Man United and think, wow, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was and stuff like that, you know, which we all know isn't true. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Big up, Yale. Hope you're well. Daryl. Yeah, they might not have the patience, brother. Hopefully, FA Cup might be the start of them playing. Absolutely, bro. I agree with Daryl. Look, you know, we have to wait. Unfortunately, we're not in the League Cup. Sadly, we got knocked out because of certain Onana. But I think he sinisterly, if that is a word, sinisterly done his shenanigans there. Absolutely. But I would say that, yeah, absolutely. Look, what I would say is, when the FA Cup comes in January, I hope that Man United do play some of those youngsters, put them on the squad, put them on the bench. That'd be great. It'd be great if we go out in the FA Cup, not go out in the FA Cup, but go to the FA Cup with an easy game. For example, I'm not going to name any names because they're going to come back and bite me on the bloody arse. You know what these teams are. You know what I mean? I was going to say, I was very close to saying it, but I better not say it. You know what I mean? A lower division team, a team of less fortunes than Manchester United. Hopefully, Manchester United will play one of those teams at the OT, Old Trafford, of course, and we can end up, playing some of these youngsters. And you never know. One of them might shine, as we know, of course, guys. Absolutely. Yale. Only thing is, I heard that the interview is that Ronaldo will leave football when his career is over. I thought he would try and get ownership. I thought so as well. But then again, I did hear something about a year ago that Ronaldo's planning for social media. He's planning to be a podcaster. He's planning to be an actor. Guys, that's one person tell me that. And I'm not going to say who it is, but he's connected to a player who currently plays for Man United. that Cristiano Ronaldo is planning on being an actor. There you go, guys. Who's he going to play? James Bond. What's going to happen? We're going to have James Bond, Cristiano Ronaldo. Chicken not stirred. Chicken not stirred. Sue, absolutely. There you go. Look, I mean, look, that would be funny, wouldn't it? Cristiano Ronaldo action movie, definitely. The new James Bond, definitely. Look, I could see it happening. I heard he's doing podcasting and he's going to act. But wouldn't it be great if he purchased a percentage of Manchester United? Wouldn't that be great? You never know. You never know. Everything is hearsay at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen officially. I would like to think that right now he would go into purchasing football clubs and Man United. That would be great if he can get involved, because obviously his influence is going to be second to none, of course, Charlie, isn't it? Absolutely. Big up, Dave. What's going on, Dave? Hope you're doing well. Good morning. Hope you had your morning coffee and everything like that. I got my morning water. I got my morning water today. I had my coffee, but I got to drink more water. That's what the doc told me. I have to drink a little bit more water. Big up, Dave. What's going on? If you want clicks, views, and any sort of traction, just mention anything controversial about United. Absolutely. Sal, props to you for always being very vocal about the Glazers out. Thank you so much, Dave. Every single day I wake up thinking about get the Glazers out. First thing I say in the morning, Glazers out. Definitely every morning. You know what I mean? And look, you know, they annoy me because I know that they're a bit like a piece of meat stuck in between your teeth. You can't get out because, you know, whenever we're doing well, whenever we get a little bit of momentum, you always think about the Glazers. You always think about the Glazers. The Glazers are still here. The Glazers are still here. Do you know what I mean? And this is the biggest issue, you know, for me. And I think that I really want Cristiano Ronaldo. I wanted him yesterday to come out and say, yeah, Glazers are the problem. The owners are the problem at the football club. Why didn't he say that? Just say it. Piers Morgan wouldn't ask that question because Piers Morgan doesn't want to know the truth. He wants sensationalist buzzwords and things like that he can use. And my best friend, Cristiano Ronaldo. Goodness me, that guy's a prat, honestly. But I would say that, look, you know, all it took was, do you think the owners are a problem at Man United? Do you think the Glazers are a problem? Goodness me, give me Cristiano Ronaldo in front of my face. It'll be the first question that I ask him. Do you think the Glazers are a problem at Man United? I mean, it's pretty evident, isn't it, guys? In regards to that, of course, absolutely. And we have to obviously break that interview down. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo spoke a lot of gospel. You can still see that Cristiano Ronaldo loves Man United. That's a good thing. Obviously, you can still see that he cares about the football club. That's a good thing. It's just that Piers Morgan thing. I just can't stand the guy. I really can't stand the guy. Jamie, good morning. How you doing, my friend? How you done? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Why is it that only our academy players seem to have a God-given right to get into the first team week in, week out? Nobody else complains when their 20-year-old is complaining. I think what it is, Jamie, is that, you know, Man United have a reputation, isn't it? Man United have always had a youth player on the bench since the 1930s. So obviously, Man United are known for bring a few youth players, obviously the class of 92. But people tend to forget the context. They tend to forget the context of the class of 92. The players that came in had already played a few games for Man United. They were 94, 95 as well as 95, 96. But they came through in the League Cup. They're getting League Cup games, FA Cup games. But they came into a team in 1995, 96. As I said, with Cantona, with Steve Bruce, with Dennis Irwin, with Roy Keane, with Peter Schmeichel, you know, with Ryan Giggs, with Andy Cole. They came into a winning environment, and that's what we have to remember. Right now, people think that you can gonna bring a player from the youth and he's gonna play men's football and he's gonna tear it all apart. It's not gonna happen. So what you have to try and do, is bring through players slowly but surely. Give them a few minutes here, give them a few minutes there, and that's what I would say about that. Absolutely, and slowly but surely. Arman, what do you think about David Beckham getting knighted? Congratulations to David Beckham. Well deserved. Glad he got it before his wife. What I would say is that, look, I'm a Leytonstone lad, just like David Beckham, born in the same hospital as David Beckham I was. Yeah, great talented place, the Leytonstone. Great place. Not. But yeah, look, big love for David Beckham, fellow EastEnder. Got a lot of time for him, really have. And to be honest with you, and yeah, look, well done. I mean, I'm going to find it difficult calling him Sir David Beckham. You know what I mean? It just seems a little bit difficult for me. But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, guys, absolutely. Ronaldo in Fast and Furious 15. That's what we want to see, Kula. That's what we want to see. Absolutely. Sal saying glaze out first thing in the morning. Sal, Mrs. Good morning. Sal, glaze out. Yeah, look, you know the other day what I said? You know what I mean? What did I say the other day to my wife? And I got really... She goes, what are you talking about? She goes to me, oh, you know what? Did you like the movie? Because I watched this Bugania. I think it was, what's the name? Bugania, film about the aliens and things like that on the cinema. And she goes, did you like the movie? And I said, yeah, it's a really... I go, yeah, it's really decent midfield. She goes, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's a decent midfield. She goes, midfield? And I go, yeah, midfield. Oh, movie. Sorry, movie. I've always got football in my mind. As I said the other day, I've always got football in my mind. You know what I mean? Yeah, Glazers out every single day. Glazers out, dartboard. I've got a dartboard with the Glazers' faces on it. Whoop, and I'm getting very good. You know what I mean? At it. So, yeah, right in the Glazers, right in the forehead, right in the mush. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Glazers out all day. Full sale only. That's what it's all about. Absolutely, guys. At least we are winning on Saturday. Big up Ellen, hopefully. Yale, Sir David Ben does have a nice ring to it. Absolutely. There you go. Dave, Sal, what's your honest opinion on United stand guy? Personally, I don't see the need for insults, but the issue, United stand guy, issue I have with him is that we lose or draw. The story of focus gets put in him. Dave, I'd be my honest opinion, and I'm going to give you a fact here about the United strand. All right, I have nothing against the lad. The lad is hustling, but the lad is doing it for money, and I'll tell you why. Right, he done this charity thing because obviously it adds a little bit of sweetness to what he's doing. However, he was supposed to come on my channel a few months ago. And we already agreed a time, a date, and then he made an excuse on the day that he has a sore throat, right? This is an exclusive for you guys. He had a sore throat, right? So I said, okay, no problem. We'll rearrange it. We do it another time. So that time came, we rearranged it, we did it. And then he messaged me, he said, look, you know what? I need to get paid. I'm getting paid now, blah, blah, blah. All right. No, I've interviewed ex-footballers, journalists, respected journalists. I've been, you know, I've had a lot of people. I know a lot of people. I've been in music 20 years as well. So at the end of the day, I've never ever had anyone come up to me and say, look, I'm going to charge you for it. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. Now, away from that, the guy wants to hustle. Okay. Away from that, we have to understand what Manchester United is. Manchester United is not a football club to be bantered. And that is exactly what he's doing. He's bantering Man United. He may not mean it, but he's definitely bantering Manchester United because at the end of the day, he's thriving off adversity. He's thriving off the football team not being able to win this many games. And even though only 3 teams I can think of in the last couple of years have won 5 games in a row, and one of them is Arsenal. I think 2 or 3, right? So not many teams win 5 games in a row. It's very difficult to do. So this is what we're talking about. Like, I just believe that, you know, fair play to him, but at the end of the day, he's using Man United for money, for clout, and getting people like companies like Paddy Power involved who openly slander Man United, joke about Man United all the time, getting them involved, getting gambling companies involved, and I just don't agree with it, right? I don't agree with it. And the thing is, I love this football club. When I see Man United, I see Duncan Edwards, I see George Best, I see Dennis Law, I see Sir Bobby Charlton. I don't want to see United strand in my head. Right? Whether we win 5 in a row, whether we win 2 in a row, whether we don't win in 10 games. He needs to just concentrate on something else because at the end of the day, you're using this football club as a platform to act like a clown, right? Which he is, and giving a tool for other fans and other companies as a marketing tool to make fun of Man United. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And it's like you said there, Dave, it's like you said there, it's diverting attention from the real problem. You know what I mean? And that is, it's like as soon as we draw the game against Forest, it's all eyes on him rather than all eyes on the football team. And that's exactly what I would say about it. I'm going to be real about it. I miss the days when people actually got famous, when people actually achieved things through talent. And that's what I would say, through talent. Big up, Dave. If anyone should be the owner of the football club owner, David Beckham would be brilliant. Sir David Beckham. We got Sir David Beckham. We got, how many sirs have we got at Man United, by the way? Guys, answer on the postcards. How many sirs we got? I have to see that movie. A long time since I have decent midfield. Absolutely. Big up, Ellen. It's a good movie. Van Disney went to face with Rooney on that lazy comment. Van Disney went face to face with Rooney on his lazy comments. There you go. At the end of the day. Oh, Van Dijk, you mean? Van Dijk. Yeah, look. He can't handle the truth, then you know what I mean, at the end of the day. David McBride, Sal, he's doing it for charity. He's not. He's doing a percentage for charity, mate. I know that for a fact. And the rest of it is for him in his pockets, mate. You think Paddy Power's for charity? Come on, mate. I also saw that the guy just started the 5 games thing as a joke troll. When he saw it was getting traction, he had now take it seriously and then profit from it. Yeah, look, like at the end of the day, and you're profiting from the football club in a bad way, isn't it? Absolutely. SLD, what's going on, my friend? Are we doing well? Southgate getting the knighthood before Beckham. Gary Neville getting into Hall of Fame, Premier League Hall of Fame ahead of Giggs. Giggs is the most decorated Premier League player of all time. You can't take the Premier League Hall of Fame seriously when you don't have Ryan Giggs in it. Do you know what I mean? Dabby's ass. Yesterday, Real Madrid disappointed me. Yeah, look, I told you guys. I said it on Judge Mo's channel. I said it on Hussam. I told Hussam as well. I said that Man United are Liverpool are going to beat Real Madrid. I think Liverpool will beat Real Madrid. I said it 2-1 or 1-0, and I was right. Absolutely. Sal, what's the best football movie you've ever seen? Green Street. Green Street. If you know, absolutely, Green Street, yeah. Accent's a bit funny, but yeah, they do put on a funny accent. But Green Street is probably the best football movie I've seen, of course, guys. Absolutely. Football Factory is not bad either. But guys, look, you know what? Away from that, one thing about Stretford Post, we will not sugarcoat anything. We don't do that on this channel, but I will speak facts and I will speak from experience as well, because, guys, experience is very, very important. Like in regards to when you speak about things, it's very, very important that you have the background and you have the knowledge about it. And I do, you know, in regards to some people, in regards to what their motives are, because I've spoken to them on a personal level. So at the end of the day, if I say something, I'm not saying it just to be bitter or to be sinister or anything like that. I'm saying it because I want the truth to be out there, which is the truth. You know what I mean? Look, at the end of the day, let me tell you something about business. Let me tell you something about, you know, when you're working in this sort of industry, like, for example, social media industry, right? An agent will always tell you to promote yourself, do some charity work. To promote yourself, do a little bit of charity work. It sweetens it up a little bit. That's what they would do. Whether you're in music, whether you're in film, whether you're in sport, they will urge you to do a little bit of charity work. Even footballers do charity work, right? And that is what it is. And the reason they do charity work, it is obviously not just to help people, but also to give a PR. It's also PR. That's what it is. So if you got a bad reputation and people are annoyed at you and angry at you, and the last thing that Man United need is an angry fan base. We've already had a bad 15 years. You don't need people mocking it. You don't need people rubbing salt into the wound. And that's what I would say about it. You don't do that. And I'm saying it in respect. You don't do that. With this football club, we are different to every football club in the world. People died for this football club, right? Let me just tell you, people died for Manchester United in 1958. They died. You know what I mean? And this I take very seriously. I take it very seriously when I feel that Man United, someone is mocking Man United, someone's taking a piss out of Man United, and I just feel like, you know, this needs to be addressed. And it's no disrespect. He's a young lad. I wish him all the best and all the success in the world. Trust me, if he needs help, I'll help him as well. But one thing you can't do is, listen, if I came on here, right, and I started clowning about Man United losing a game, you know what I mean? People won't be happy, would they? If I started using it as a tool for elevation, people won't be happy, would it? Because I love and respect the Man United fan base. You know, I've known some Man United fans for years. I know some over here in the UAE. I know people have been Man United fans for 50, 60 years. You know what I mean? And, you know, I know what this club means. I know where we've been. I know the adversity. I know what has happened at this football club. And, you know, it means a lot, not for some kids to come and mock it. Because at the end of the day, it's just like when Piers Morgan, is indirectly talking about Man United in a way. He loves it. He loves it. He's enjoying it. He loves it, right? And he loves asking Cristiano Ronaldo questions about Man United because Man United are not where they are, where we want to be, where we strive to be. He loves asking questions about Man United and digging it and stirring it a little bit. And that's exactly what it is. It's stirring. You're stirring the pot. You're annoying people. People don't get annoyed for no reason. I've been to Old Trafford. God blimey. It must be over. Oh, goodness me. How many times? 500 times? I've seen Man United games. 500 times in my life, maybe more, right? I've never once been sworn at, punched, kicked by a Man United fan. Because I love the club. They love the club, and we all share a common goal as well. Cooler. Social media and even YouTube is the reason why foolish things like that United Strand are possible. Well, TikTok mainly. You ain't got a YouTube channel. Take, for example, you, Sal. You got 3 or 4 followers where that rubbish United Strand is most probably on 100K or more. I don't think he has a YouTube channel, mate. Having a YouTube channel actually requires actual work. You know what I mean? Actual Man United fans to talk about actual football. I don't think he has the knowledge to have a YouTube channel. What are you going to do on YouTube? What's he going to do on YouTube? Nothing. Stare at a camera. Make short videos. That's what he's going to do. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know, and at the end of the day, what they do is they give the social media is a great thing, Cooler, but they give the social media world a bad name. That's what they do. They feed into that narrative, don't they? There's intelligent people out there that actually love the club and want to talk about football, but there's also, you know, people who just want to benefit from it. Dave, social media has done immense harm than good. Depends who you are, mate. And hopefully we're going to, with this channel, with Stretford Post, we're going to differentiate. We're going to separate the bull from the real. And hopefully the real shine through and the real come through and the real get out there. Because at the end of the day, I feel passionately about this football club. And this is why I'm here, to talk to people all from all corners of the globe about Manchester United. I feel passionately about it. And this is what I will always do. I will always speak my mind. I will always, sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But the ultimate goal for me is a successful Manchester United. That's all I want. This is why I was talking about hold that. This is why because there's some people who don't want a successful Man United. United Strand certainly doesn't want a successful Man United because that would be his business cut off from the source, wouldn't it? So that is what we're talking about. He generally, guys, let's be real here. Let's be real. He wants Man United not to win 5 games in a row because then his career is dead. You know what I mean? And that's what it is at the end of the day. And he can go back working in Tesco, wherever it is. No offense to Tesco, I work there. You know what I mean? Penny, good morning. How you doing, you legend? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Who is a Brazilian kid? His name's Del, mate. Del is a 17-year-old Brazilian under-20s international, valued at $87 million release clause, my friend, Kevin. Check him out, Del, D-E-L-L, like the computer. Absolutely. Mama Bumba, what's going on? Would you have preferred fan channels back then? Would you have preferred? Yeah. Mamba Bomba, because I would have made a fan channel. I would have been loving it. I would have been bantering all day long, all the rival fans. That's what I would have been doing because Man United is so successful. I would have been there. Bam, 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 bam. You know, it would have been great. It would have been great. The problem is when I was growing up, people loved the football club more. I'll just be honest. I'll be honest with you guys. People love the football club more than the new generation that are coming through. For example, people who started supporting Man United in 2008 and that. It's hard for them to love the football club like someone who'd been supporting the football club in the late 80s, like me, who fell in love with the football club because of the history of the football club. Do you know what I mean? And that's no offense. They can't help themselves. The help that they were born there and they supported them at that. Fair play, they support Man United. But I would say that people back then, there was just far more love for Manchester United than now. There was far more love for the history of Man United than now. Now people look at it, like I spoke the other day about a guy the other day at the weekend about Man United, and he said we should stop thinking about the history of Man United. He's a modern day fan. He goes, we should stop thinking about the history of Man United. History doesn't matter. And when people say that about my beloved club, our beloved club, I get very, very personal because at the end of the day, without the history of Manchester United, without the history of Man United, nobody would be here right now talking about Manchester United, without the history of what we went through, right? The Busby Babes gave all the players right now and the fans a platform. They were the ones. They're the ones who started it. You know what I mean? They're the ones who started. They're the ones who gave it all the football fans and the team a platform. They gave United Strand a platform to do clowneries. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So this is what we're talking about. You know, and I just feel like I had respect. We had respect for the badge. We have respect for the likes of Cantona, for the likes of Mark Hughes, for the likes of Brian Robson, for the likes of Paul McGrath, even Dennis Law and Bobby Charlton and Duncan Edwards and George Best, Nobby Stiles, Lou Macari. We had this always ingrained in us. When I started supporting Man United, it was already ingrained in me that this is the football club I love and the football club I'm going to support, because you know what? I don't care about if it was successful or not. I love the football club. Now, but when people started supporting the football club, the new fans, it's more like I start supporting the football club because they're successful, the most successful team. And that's what it's all about, you know what I mean? And they've given us all a bad reputation, you know what I mean? And you see some of them with their Pogba avies on Twitter, or their Martial avies on Twitter, or their Rashford avies on Twitter, and you see them not really Man United fans, but benefiting off Man United fans, benefiting on clicks, benefit just to be controversial, loud, and obnoxious, of course. I just hope United with 5-0 for United stats and shit show to end. You never know, it might happen, but it's a very hard thing to do. Even like the top teams find it hard. We used to do it back in the day. I think Man United's record is 8 games, if I'm not wrong, 14 games unbeaten, 8 games won in a row. Dave, Sal, with all these recent links, which are really possible and realistic to do in the January transfer window, the only one I would say that's realistic and possible to do for me, in my opinion, there's only a couple that I would say are realistic. Conor Gallagher on loan is realistic. Ruben Neves on loan is realistic. If you're thinking about slightly unrealistic, it's going to be Adam Wharton. But not Adam Wharton, sorry, excuse me. Elliot Anderson and Angelo Stiller. I would say that out of all the players that we've been linked to purchase, Angelo Stiller is the most likely. Angelo Stiller is the most likely. I think Elliot Anderson, given that Nottingham Forest are in a relegation battle and in Europe, I don't think Nottingham Forest are going to sell Elliot Anderson in January. I already know that Adam Wharton has a gentleman's agreement with Crystal Palace that he can leave in the summer, but not in January. So the realistic one for me is, because he plays for Stuttgart and there's not much riding on their season at the moment, is Angelo Stiller for me, I would say. Mamba Bamba, should history of football times be remembered only, or bad times as well? Bad times and 1958, I always talk about it. Every single show, Mamba Bamba. Every single show. Without the Busby Babes, without 1958. Right, they are the guys, those guys there, who believed in European football when no other team in England believed in European football, sacrificed themselves for the elevation, for the platform that these guys have today. So the history is very important, good or bad. The relegation in 1974, very important. You know what I mean? Very important. It was a reset. Becoming a cup team in the 1980s. You know what I mean? It all led up to the 26 years without a title in 1993, and the rest is history. Is there truth about Lucas Paqueta from West Ham? There is an element of truth, yes. Man United are looking for another attacking player to compensate for the loss of Mbeumo and Ahmad during the AFCON, of course. But West Ham don't want to do a loan deal. Man United want to do a loan deal with an obligation to buy. Paqueta's valued about 35 million, if I'm not wrong. He's 28 years old. This is the only issue with it. I can't see why West Ham would do that deal. But he is being linked to Man United, and Man United have a number of players that they are looking at the moment, which can potentially act as cover for the likes of Mbeumo and Ahmed going forward. Absolutely. Not sure where this is taken from. I see someone has put up that we are bidding 80 million for Anderson, with United being the silent. I cannot see this to be a real bid. No, look, guys, numbers are being thrown around left, right, and center. We had the number about, we had that guy, Indy Kayla, who's a fraud and pays Ornstein to give him a shout out. By the way, I know that for a fact. A lot of people are throwing out numbers, right? They're throwing out numbers. 90 million for Baleba, for example, why would Man United bid 55 plus 5 million in the summer, then all of a sudden bid 90 million for Baleba if he's not been performing? That doesn't make sense, does it? And the same goes with Anderson. No number has been clarified. We all know, Jale, that if we're going to sign Anderson, it's guesswork. It's going to be 80 million, 70 million. No shit, Sherlock. That's what it is, isn't it? It's going to be around that price. We know how much it's going to be. So people coming out there proclaiming they're in the know, And let me tell you something about people in the know, right? I've never once said I was the one who broke Mbeumo. I was the one who broke Dorgu. I was the one who did. I've done that. I've done a lot of transfers that I broke, right? At the end of the day. But let me tell you something about journalists. Real journalists don't have to justify themselves. They don't have to talk. They don't have to justify themselves, right? And there are many now who are trying to use, for example, right? It's a bit like saying something that's nearly going to happen. You take that leap. You take that leap and you say, this is going to happen. It's going to be 90 million. This is going to happen. So basically saying that's Elliot Anderson or Carlos Baleba, 90 million. You know, anyone can throw that number out there. Nobody, let me tell you something right now about Man United. And I know two people work at Man United, right? But nobody, right, has the inside knowledge like that, like months before it happens. Nobody's ringing up Wilcox, Vivell, Barada, Jim Ratcliffe, the Glazers. Who we're after? How much is he? You actually think that some random dude with a cartoon picture on his Twitter is getting that inside information? The only way I can envision that sort of thing happening is if that person was a footballer and he's got a fake profile or something like that, or that person was a fake account and he's got or that person was a journalist and he's got a fake account. That's the only way I can see it happening. Absolutely. Cooler, not even Palace, whom Wolves, Villa, New World League. I'm not sure what that means. Dave, with Anderson willing to listen to United's offer, United would be willing to offer 80 million in January. Blanston, no. You quoted the same idiot again, mate. You quoted the same idiot. That guy knows nothing. People are posting about a clown that knows nothing, mate. Absolutely not. They know nothing. I'll tell you, they know nothing. It came from Andy Mitten, by the way. I confirmed it yesterday, Dave. Andy Mitten, and he copied it. It's coming from Andy Mitten. It was on Andy Mitten's show. You know? It's nothing. Everyone knows Elliot Anderson is an 80 million pound player. It's no shit, Sherlock. Come on, wake up. You know what I mean? Everyone knows how much Elliot Anderson is going to be. My mother knows how much Elliot Anderson's worth. So it's easy to throw out quotes out there from unknown journalists that are Tyler Blanstelan or something like that. If it's not from Ornstein, if it's not from Fabrizio Romano, if it's not from Ben Jacobs, I don't want to know. That's it. Mark, speaking about history, we would have won the league 85 with Anderson. We ended up becoming a cup team for 10 years. Speaking of history, we would, if the Munich air disaster didn't happen, Man United would have over 7 bloody European Cups as well, probably. You know what I mean? Cooler, Forever United TV, who has it for the 9 o'clock show, he also takes it with a pinch of salt. You got to take it with a pinch of salt. Look, what you got to understand, you got to use this whole thing up here, the old chestnut. You know what I mean? This is what you got to do. If it's true, I will say it's true. If it's true. But the old chestnut would tell you, Elliot Anderson is worth 80 million. No shit, Sherlock. So what they're doing, they're guessing that Man United could quite possibly sign him in January. So if they get it right, they're going to be heralded as his hero. I got the news. I'm the man. Star-dee-da-dee-da. Blasey, blasey, blah. Do you know what I mean? Just got to lose the chestnut, mate. Got to use the chestnut at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, we know that Elliot Anderson is going to be valued at amount of money. I knew Elliot Anderson was a 70, 80 million months ago player, right? So at the end of the day, let's just see what happens, eh? Let's see what happens. Man United, the key is Man United are linked with Anderson, Angelo Stiller, Carlos Baleba, Adam Wharton, and a number of other midfielders as well. I would say. All right. And I think it's very important that we don't quote nonsense from nonsense people. And it's very important that you come on Stretford Post and understand that I've been talking about it for weeks and months and give credit to Stretford Post. Because I've been talking about it for months, and then everyone acts like it's their news. You know what I mean? I think we get top 4. Hopefully, Arman. I hope we do. I hope we do. I think it's top 5 now, Arman. We can get in the Champions League. Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton would be the top targets. Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton would be the top targets because they're both number 6s. So Man United won't sign 2. They'll sign 1 and a number 8. Absolutely. Sal, that's what I was wondering. Who even is this Tyler Blanstead? It's a chancer, mate. It's a chancer. He was credited with the story yesterday, and people were reposting his. And I've never heard of him. And if you haven't heard from me, if you're not coming across me, then it's no point because obviously I'm connected on. People follow me and stuff. Is Anderson 8 million, which I highly doubt is a report. I mean, look, guys, it's guesswork. It's guesswork, Dave. It's guesswork. I'm not saying he's not valued at 80 million because he is valued at 80 million. It's just that basically what they're doing is called being a chancer. They would say something, they will quote something, and then they will act like it's their own news. You know what I mean? It's mad. Even Romano said United deal went wrong and this summer. That is now secretive. United recruitment are now. This is one thing I would say, guys. I know 2 people at Man United. I know 2 people work at Man United. Those 2 people will tell me news, and they're very reliable. All right. I also know, obviously, Ben Jacobs has been on this channel twice. I also know other, other journalists as well, and ex-footballers. So these people who come on and they start talking about, I know this, I'm in the know. I will give you 100 times they've been wrong. I will just go through their Twitter accounts and I'll just say, you were wrong there, you were wrong there, you were wrong there. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what happened to the takeover situation? And I told you it was all bull crap. I told you. I said there is an element of truth. There is something going on. But the way people were throwing it out there, like they got the price, they got everything, they know everything. They've been speaking to the Sheikh of Dubai. They've been doing this and that. It's crazy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And it's laughable, to be honest. Samuel, the Glazers should just piss off and sell Manchester United. Absolutely, Samuel. So if Bruno is a midfield next season, it will be a problem. Either way, we have to play him as a 10. Or I agree with you, Ephraim. Absolutely. I've spoken about this many, many times, of course. Mark, we have 2 players for the top 4 or 5, but our goals against is concerning. We got a poor defense this season. I think that's mainly to do with Dalot and Shaw. We're better with Aiden Heaven. Linked to all these players. That way it should be Manchester United. Always been linked with 2 top players. Yeah. Man United will always be linked. Hello, what's going on, brother? How are we doing? Liverpool won today. I'm not very happy. Yeah, they won, yesterday for me. Yeah, well, they won today, sort of, absolutely. 100% agree with the takeover stuff. It was an international break story and had no legs. Look, Charlie, I live in the UAE, right? What Turkey Al Sheikh said, he's not lying, right? Turkey Al Sheikh, he's not lying, right? He wouldn't say that as a man of his stature, who is responsible for the entertainment in Saudi Arabia. And obviously I'm connected to Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn, my latent connections, who know Turkey Al Sheikh very, very well. There's an element of truth. But the key thing for the tweet that happened on that time, a month ago or so, the key thing is that it could happen, but it might not happen. Could happen. But the one thing I would say about Turkey Al Sheikh is that he's not going to make any bull crap up. There is an element of truth, but the way people were acting, the way they were in the know with the Sheikh on their thumbnails, with the big yellow writing, 5.5 billion on their thumbnails, it's disgraceful. And the thing is, what I would say is that it's clout chasing. It's clout chasing. I'm not saying it's not true. I do find out. I'm in the UAE. I will find out. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So look, I would say that it is people trying to get ahead of the queue. I want to get it first. I want to be the first to do that. I want to get the first to do that. Why don't they mention Patrick Dorgu or Senny Lamens when nobody knew who they were, like I did? Why don't they do that? When nobody, and I will bring up the video from a year and a half ago, Senny Lamens. Who the hell is Senny Lamens? And people saying, who the hell is Senny Lamens? Who the hell is Patrick Dorgu? We need to stop being linked with these nobodies, these youngsters. That was what it was, guys. And I'll tell you, and I've got the evidence is right there. They always they always try to jump. They try to jump and they look at news and they exaggerate the news. I try to stay away from that. I try to speak what I've heard, what we're linked to, and every single player that I mentioned, we are linked to. Let me tell you right now. It doesn't mean that we're going to sign every single player that we're linked to. That's a myth. We're not going to sign every single player, but we are linked to those players. You know what I mean? We're still linked to players from last summer. You know what I mean? From the summer before. Like I said yesterday, Jareth Branthwaite. We're still linked to Jareth Branthwaite. You know what I mean? I think do Bruno and do all cousins. You heard that from the news, mate. Your news, they're talking about that. There's just nothing news, mate. Just nothing news. Just silly. People just put stories out there and hope it happens because every window we get linked to 30 plus players. Players usually end up with signing 4 or 5. Look, it's not to say, Dave, it's not to say that we're not linked to those players. Being linked doesn't mean you're going to sign them. You could be linked to a player. It doesn't mean you're going to sign them. But one thing you get from me is truth. I will tell you the players we're linked with. The 4 players we're linked with, 100%, Angelo Stiller, Adam Wharton, Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba. Those are 4. And then you've got the second tier of Yavi Guerra, Lamine Kamara, Agume, Kone of Roma as well. You got that tier as well. And then the tiers go down, right? Then the tiers go down. And we are linked to those players. And don't be surprised if Man United do sign those one or two of those players in the midfield, for example. There's a lot of people who, I get that news. I get it from respectable sources. I get it from people who are at the football club. There's people who don't. It's guesswork. And that's where you go with that. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. Rajat, well, if to fit Bruno as a 10, he needs to be given a free role with someone like Wharton, Stiller, and Anderson. I don't know. I think we need to move on from Bruno, if I'm being honest with you, my friend. Guys, absolutely. Absolutely. Dave, there's something to this takeover story, but what people tend to forget is how massive this institution is. And if there was a Sal, it would take a couple of years, Dave. I've said it already. It would take a couple of, especially given what the Glazers are like, how slow the Glazers do their work. You know what, innit? At the end of the day. Big up, Raja, absolutely. Kevin, Lisandro Martino, is he back for the Tottenham game? Not yet. He's not going to be playing against Tottenham. I will say that right now. We're going to have to wait to after the international break. I would have thought after the international break, Lisandro Martinez will be back. Good news for Man United, of course. He's a big player for Man United. He's an important player for Man United. Of course he is. Absolutely. Now, guys, fantastic show, as usual. Really appreciate every single one of you. Really appreciate everyone who has their comments. And guys, listen, we need to get to at least 100 likes today, guys. Come on, we got there nearly yesterday. I think we're on 97 on yesterday's Breaking Dawn. We need to get get to 100 today, guys. Really important. And just want to thank you, everyone, who joins me this morning and every morning, of course. And I really appreciate you. And don't forget to subscribe. Good morning, Prince. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Don't forget to subscribe as well, guys, to the channel. Don't forget to put your notifications on, and I'll be back for for Chatterbox later on today, guys. So don't forget to join me for that one as Chatterbox matters as well, of course, guys. But thank you so much. Glory, glory, Man United. We move on and upwards, and let's do this, guys. Take it easy. Have a great evening, great night, great morning, wherever you are in the world. And don't worry. Don't worry. We'll be back taking our rightful place in the Champions League, not those dead teams, those donkeys in the Champions League that are there right now. We're going to be back, guys. Take it easy, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Peace.